Well, Dr. Duncan Robertson is from Loughborough University's School of Business and Economics and joins us now. Duncan, it's great to have you on the show. Really been looking forward to speaking to you this morning. Now, since we last spoke to you on BBC Radio Leicester, just before Christmas, much of the country, including Leicester, is now in Tier 4. And yesterday, Boris Johnson warned of additional measures being introduced. I mean, how likely do you think this is? And what might the additional measures include?
Well, the problem is that, we have this new variant that obviously started in Kent and is moving up through London, fairly comprehensively in London, with cases about 900 per 100,000. And it's basically spreading. So if you look at a map, it's now, going outwards from London to, the southeast, and it seems to be creeping up to, most of the country. So the problem is this variant is just better at transmitting. So we talk about this R number, and we've, up until now, been thinking about getting this R below 1, which basically means that cases will go down. The problem with this new variant is it's basically adding about 0.4 or to 0.7 to R. Now, what that means is if 10 people get this new variant, then they'll infect an extra 4 to 7 people. And that basically means it's very difficult to control. And, we're really in a dire situation at the moment with this new variant.
So, Duncan, with this R rate, I mean, where exactly is that now? And what does that mean? I mean, should we be alarmed, do you think?
I think we should be aware, and I'm concerned. And if you look at just the statistics and the number of people tested positive across the country, it's gone up 47% this week. Deaths have gone up 24% this week. Patients admitted to hospital has gone up 19% this week. And that's really the difference between, the first and second waves, the second wave and this new variant is if you start from hospitals completely empty, in the summer, in April, or just with, their standard numbers of cases, then you can deal with it. The problem we have now is before Christmas, we released restrictions, and we did have things like mixing at Christmas in some areas of the country, which has meant that this virus has been able to spread to new areas. And, essentially, there are more cases being triggered as a result of that. So, it's R is greater than 1. Hospitals are filling up, if not full. So if you look at, say, Leicester hospitals, the Leicester NHS Trust, at the peak of the first wave, they had 200 patients in hospital. And, it was a dire situation, as we all know. And now they've got 319. And then, potentially we're going to have increases to the number of people who have COVID on top of that. So it's a very dire situation. And we haven't got a lot left to do in terms of closing down society. And this is why the debate moves on to schools, because, the priority has been keeping schools open. That hasn't been sufficient to get R below 1. So you then have to think, what else can you do? And this is why schools are now in the debate.
So I know that, with the data and hearing you talk about that there as well, I know that you said that we should be aware as well, Duncan. I mean, are you surprised at where we are now?
Hindsight is a great thing. But, projecting before Christmas, there were a lot of scientists basically saying, what is going on? There's this new virus. Essentially, you can think of it as a new virus, a new, more transmissible virus, which is spreading. And we're not putting in the control measures to get it under control. And therefore, it's going out of control. So, I was warning before Christmas that things like allowing people to mix was just not a good idea at all. And so we're seeing it spreading across the country, and we need to do something. Or, that's a political decision what we do. But if we don't do something significant, you're going to get more and more deaths, and that's, morally not a very good place to be.
And Duncan, I know that you said there's not much more, things to do, that we can do or shut down, certainly. But, if a new tier or additional measures are introduced, I appreciate you haven't got a crystal ball, but what can you see happening? What do you think could happen in the coming weeks?
Well, as you mentioned, the way out of this is by vaccination. And, thank goodness we have 2 vaccines that have been authorised and are now being, given to people. And, looking at the last few weeks, it's up to about 500,000 per week. And so the question really is, where are the vaccines going into people's arms? Because that's the way to get out of the situation. How many have been ordered? How many are in the country? How many have been released? And why aren't more people getting vaccinated? It's great to say, by April we hope to have this many people vaccinated. But how many have been ordered and have been released? Where are they? And what's the plan for getting, the most vulnerable vaccinated?
Duncan, always great to speak to you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Dr. Duncan Robertson there from Loughborough University School of Business and Economics. You'll have heard Duncan. He speaks to Ben every Monday here on BBC Radio Leicester. So my thanks to Duncan for joining us this morning.